So let's continue with our Let's Read project, so to say. I had to change the location because I don't know why, but my microphone wasn't responding well to my laptop. So, but the situation is not the same with all the other devices. It's all right with Begov's laptop and also with my computer. With my desktop at home, and that's why I'm home now. So because I'm a little bit ashamed to use someone's device, and I don't like that asking for something from other people. I prefer to own and to use only my own things. So today's book is Dopamine Nation. I found the title very interesting, and it says over 1 million copies sold. It's a big deal, and now we are gonna read it, and I think at home the atmosphere is gonna be even more cozy because it's home, and that's why I think I'll feel more freedom in this setup, and that's why I'll be reading even better, and I'll be joking more because I'll feel more comfortable doing it in my own home, in my own room, so to say. So let's get to the book without any further ado. So here is the introduction. You are not weak, you are running old wiring inside a world built to overload it. The gap explains almost everything you cannot seem to stop. That is the thesis of Dopamine Nation, Finding Balance in the Age of Indulgence by Anna. I like this word, indulgence, when you allow yourself to do some bad things. Erkeleteš, баловать себя. For example, indulge yourself in chocolate to allow yourself to eat more of it. So addiction psychiatrist. This deep dive covers 8 key ideas from the seesaw in your brain to the strange cure of chasing pain on purpose. So let's get to the book and see what is what. Who is this for? About the author. Your brain was built for scarcity, not abundance. I think we can start from here straight away without wasting our time on these two. Scarcity, I think you don't know, but кемлик, нехватка, not for abundance. Köplik küçülmez, не для изобилия, let's say. Picture the most addictive thing you own. Phone. Its power doesn't live in the object. It lives in your reward pathway. Dopamine is the measuring stick. Scientists gauge, it's assess, baha vermek, оценивать, how addictive anything is by how much dopamine it releases in the brain. More dopamine, more pull. A cigarette machine in 1880 went from 4 cigarettes a minute to 20,000. Morphine ran 10 times stronger than opium, and fentanyl runs 50 to 100 times stronger than morphine. Every drug keeps getting stronger and closer. The biggest driver of addiction is not character, it's access. Supply has created demand, as well as fall prey to the vortex of compulsive overuse. So you use something more and more because you have it, it says. In the past, we didn't have it. There was no access, and that's why we limited ourselves. But today we have an easy access, so that's why we are overusing the things we have. When alcohol was banned, public drunkenness and liver disease fell by roughly half, and the drop held for decades. Cut the supply, cut the harm. What sits one tap away for you that used to take real effort? That collapse of effort into instant is the whole story of modern craving, and it starts a chain reaction inside a single organ. Yes, so it says something that was inaccessible back in the day is accessible now, and that's why we are getting addicted to the things. All right. The pleasure pain balance in your brain. And by the way, I think you have already noticed that I also moved from the right to the left. Why? Because I want to. Okay, let's continue. Here is the machine underneath every urge. Imagine a seesaw with pleasure on one side and pain on the other. It wants to sit level. Tip it toward pleasure and it doesn't stay tipped. Little gremlins hop onto the pain side to level it out, and they don't climb off the moment the pleasure fades. So the balance overshoots into pain. That overshoot is the come down, the craving, the itch for one more. So if something goes like this, you again want it, want it, want it. If something goes like this, you again want it, want it, want it. Repeat the same hit at the gremlins multiply. Now you need more just to feel normal, and less of it feels good. Push far enough and you reach anhedonia, the inability to enjoy anything at all. The paradox is a very good word, by the way. غلطة тамоны, странная черта, is the hedonism. The pursuit of pleasure for its own sake leads to anhedonia, which is the inability to enjoy pleasure of it. Very good. It says, it leads to hedonism, and hedonism is you try to find pleasure, but this then leads you to anhedonia. You cannot enjoy this pleasure. Actually, it's true, because you want something but you don't enjoy it. It feels normal to you, not good. All right. One measure of the stakes, one hit of a meth pipe delivers about 10 times the dopamine of an... Okay. The bigger the spike, the harder the crash. Notice one pleasure that later leaves you flatter than it used to. That flatness is the balance quietly resetting against you, which is exactly why numbing the discomfort only deepens the hole. So it says, the more you have something, the less pleasant it becomes, and the less you have it, the more pleasant it becomes. Why running from pain makes it worse? A depressed student from South Korea spent every waking hour plugged into a device. The prescription was almost insulting. Walk to class with nothing in your ears. She reported back 4 days. I started noticing the trees. We have turned every flicker of discomfort into a problem for a pillar screen. More than 1 in 4 American adults, I hope you understood what I read. Right now, it says one student was going to school always with headphones, and when this student took them off, the student started seeing the world around. Trees, to be more specific here. More than 1 in 4 American adults now takes a psychiatric drug daily, and use climbs highest in the wealthiest countries. Дорич про таблетки. Here is the twist that should stop you cold. Those same rich countries report the most anxiety and the most pain. Yes, rich people have anxiety and pain. In a 30-country survey, 34% of Americans felt pain, often against 13% in Switzerland. The reason we are also miserable may be because we are working so hard to avoid being miserable. The escape is the trap. Even boredom, which we treat like an emergency, is the fertile ground where new thought grows. So, yaman narsalardan kaçavermezlik gerek. Не надо избегать все плохое. It's a very important thing for the new beginning, it says here. The escape is the trap, even boredom, blah, blah, blah. Newport builds a whole discipline on that soil in deep work, treating tedium as the muscle behind hard, valuable work. What have you been numbing that your best thinking actually needs? If avoidance digs the hole, then the way out is not more avoidance. It's deliberate, temporary stop. Bir yerde kaçaverme dedi. Лучше бля göre осознавая это вактинчалик.
Temporary stop.
The dopamine fast that resets your reward system.
A teenager smoked more than a gram of cannabis a day.
I don't have to
swore
read
it treated
it.
her anxiety. Day 2 of quitting, she vomited. Day 2 of quitting, day 2 of quitting, day 2 of quitting, she
Stop it,
vomited from
please.
withdrawal, and the medicine had become the illness. After 1 month clean, her anxiety was simply gone.
I want to read. Why is the computer trying to be Shahryar? Very strange, stupid computer. Don't be me when there is me. So now I need to find where I stopped. Так. I think here we stopped. Yes, here we stopped. A teenager smoked more than a gram of cannabis a day and swore it treated her anxiety. Day 2 of quitting, she vomited from withdrawal and the medicine had become the illness. So cannabis, I think, is another sort of narcotic because she had anxiety. She was always afraid of something. After 1 month clean, her anxiety was simply gone. That month is the whole tool. A month is usually the minimum amount of time it takes to reset the brain's reward pathway. You need 1 month of pause to restart your brain. The reset runs on a plan spelled into the word dopamine. Start with the plain data of what you use and how often, then name the real objective behind the reaching and face the problems you cannot see while using. Then abstain long enough to restore balance. Watch your mind without judging it and let the insight arrive around week 4. 2 weeks in, you are not healed. You are just miserable and sober. Sober is a good word, by the way. It's not drunk. Week 4 is where the world starts to taste like something again. Sit with this. Heavy drinking, depressed men were hospitalized 4 weeks with no treatment except sobriety. Being sober. 80% no longer met the criteria for clinical depression. What have you been blaming on your personality that is really just your intake? Clearing the fog is one thing. Staying clear in a world built to hook you takes a different craft. Which of these ideas would change your week if you actually used it? If this map is landing past the first half to someone who has been quietly white-knuckling a habit and would feel seen by it. So it basically says that if you are addicted to something, stop it, and you need to tolerate a week. Bir hafta çıdaş gerek. Нужно перетерпеть эту a month. Перетерпеть этот месяц. And then your brain will not crave for it, will not ask for it, because it will forget, it will reset. Interesting information to try. Self-binding, how to beat cravings without willpower. Willpower is сила воли, ирада. 3,000 years ago, by the way, now this film is very popular, is on trend, wanted to hear the sirens, whose song pulled sailors to steer straight into the rocks. His trick was not willpower. He had his crew plug their own ears, then tied himself to the mast, so that when the pull hit, his body simply couldn't steer the ship toward it. That is self-binding, and it is the most practical idea in the book. You build a barrier now, while you are calm, because later there is no deciding left to do. In the throes of desire, there is no deciding. It comes in 3 flavors, which маза, 3 вкуса: physical, a real lock or real distance, like the man who kept his wine in a file cabinet; chronological, a clock or a finish line, like never before 5. Categorical, banning a whole class of triggers, not just the drug itself. Binding ourselves is a way to be free. So it says there are 3 ways to stop doing something. The first one is limiting yourself from the product, from the thing that you are addicted to. The second one is timeline. You say, don't do it after this time or before this time. And the third one is you remove all the things that lead you to using this thing. What barrier could you build this week that future you would thank you for? Some people reach for a different tool that presses. Actually, I have been teaching this to my students for a long time. I say to my students, for example, if it's hard for you to control yourself, don't sit at the back. Come closer, come to me. Sit in the front. So my energy will control you. The closeness with the teacher will control you. You just need to put yourself to the situations when there is extra help for you. And you will not do, so to say, bad things. What we lose when we medicate every feeling. A poor kid from this place, clothed into Stanford, nearly died of heroin and dropped out 5 times. One medication switched his life back on. He has no plans to ever stop it, and the evidence backs him, because these drugs cut illicit use and cut overdose death. So this is not an anti-medication idea. It's a warning about the fine print. His wife notices a robotic flatness in him now. Another patient, years on antidepressants, stopped crying at commercials, then couldn't cry at her own mother's funeral. She quit her pills to feel human. What if, instead of making us better than well, psychotropic drugs make us other than well? Here is the honest pushback. Those flat affect stories are vivid and one-sided. And for many people, a steadier, slightly muted life beats a vivid one spent drowning. The drugs save lives. They also carry a cost worth naming out loud. If a medicine dulled your lowest lows, would you trade a little of your highest highs? There is another path that doesn't numb the pain at all. It leans into it. Very interesting thing. It says all these drugs, they help you with something, but also they harm you in another way. For example, there are people who somehow block their bad feelings, but at the same time, they also block their natural feelings. Like a person here who stopped crying after taking antidepressants, and even at the funeral of the mother didn't shed a tear or something like this. I'm not sure about the expression that I used, but I somehow remembered it. So it says when you take a drug, of course it heals you in some way, but it also harms you in another way. We need to remember that. Is it worth curing your lows low, but losing your highs high at the same time? Very interesting point. You know, if you follow me and if you read these books with me, you gotta get so much knowledge. Pressing on the pain side, the case for chosen discomfort. Guess how much 1 hour in cold water raises the dopamine in your blood? 250% in cold water. With the lift lingering long after you climb out. If pleasure tips the balance toward pain, then pain tips it back toward pleasure. Press deliberately on the pain side and gremlins hop to the pleasure side to level you out. The reward is indirect, and it lasts far longer than the cheap kind. Colder water, heat, fasting, rozatuch, if you don't know, голодать, and hard exercise all work as a controlled sting that buys a lasting gain. One recovering addict found this in a cold shower, escalated to ice bath twice daily for 3 years, then caught himself treating it like the old drug and pulled back. Just as pain is the price we pay for pleasure, so too is pleasure our reward for pain. If you pay pain for pleasure, you also get pleasure for pain. It says very smart. David Goggins is this idea lived out in Can't Hurt Me, driving through misery to forge an unbreakable mind. Here the books collide. Goggins sells the pain as pure triumph, while this one plants a flag beside it. Plants. You can get addicted to the pain too. What is the smallest dose of chosen discomfort you could sustain? The last tool is not physical at all. It's the truth spoken out loud. So it says, you can get cheap dopamine, like easy things, watching reels, for example, eating fast food. But at the same time, you can get expensive dopamine, hard dopamine, but the one which lasts longer. For example, if you exercise, if you do what else here, fast, and also cold shower, all these things also give you dopamine, but they come at the cost of discomfort. You have to go through discomfort first to get this dopamine, but this one is an expensive one. This one is a worthy one, it says. Okay, so radical honesty and cure of belonging. The average adult tells between roughly 1/2 and 1.5 lies a day. The claim here is that truth-telling about big things and tiny ones physically rewires the brain toward health. In one study, stimulating the thinking part of the brain cut people's lying nearly in half. Watch it work. A woman, 5 years sober, opened a package meant for her brother, lied about it twice, then confessed it the next morning and felt free. Truth-telling engenders a plenty mindset. Lying engenders a scarcity mindset. Honesty also pulls people close, and closeness is its own clean high. Then belonging finishes the job. Shame that meets rejection drives you back to the drug. Shame that meets acceptance and the path to make amends binds you to the group, or binds you to the group, and the group holds you. Very difficult, but I think I understand. I'll later explain after we finish the paragraph. It was the community I always wanted but never had. The whole book falls into one image. A man on a hike aimed his camera at a beetle, and his craving quietly let go. What if instead of seeking oblivion by escaping from the world, we turn toward it? Who could you be radically honest with this week? So I think it says this, let me be clear here, about lying and telling the truth. Lying is comfortable. Lying is comfortable, but in this way. Telling the truth gives you this pleasure, it says. So instead of choosing these, brain scarcity, choose these, brain abundance, by telling the truth, it says. Okay, it gives you longer happiness. Implementation guide. The Dopamine Nation method turned into a week you can actually run. Start today with data not change. Okay, so we have finished the book. Actually, that was quite a good one. So I have understood from the book that we need to limit ourselves, deliberately limit ourselves from bad things, and there are 3 ways to stop your bad habits. The first one is to stop it at all by, for example, putting it in a place that is not accessible to you. This is the first one. The second one is don't do it after this time method. So you put a timeline for that, and step by step you finish. You break the habit. And the third one is you stop doing the things that lead you to that. For example, you smoke, and not to smoke, you stop drinking. So you don't drink, you don't smoke. The third method is like this. And also I learned that there is cheap dopamine and also a worthy one. So cheap is for the weak, let's say, and the other one is for strong people with strong character. And also here I learned that you need to put yourself into discomfort, because discomfort gives you the pleasure. Instead of getting pleasure, short-term pleasure, and then paying with pain for that, it's better to put yourself in a not comfortable situation, but then reap the benefits of this. So, пожинать плоды, мивасен körmak, reap the benefits. And I think that's it. So, this is the first read in my home. Bye-bye.